breathe out, relax, release the hurt. Some people never lose, they never felt the news of oppression by others who win only when they abuse. How we treat the bottom, where you go is where you come from. Hold up your head, give power to the truth. We give power to the people. We give it power.
All right, welcome everybody. I have the honor to welcome everyone here to another episode of the Houseless. Today, we head down to the heart of New Orleans, where the vibrant pulse of the city meets the resonant beats of social change. So in this episode, we shine a spotlight on the extraordinary journey of Cole Williams, a musical force and a relentless advocate for the unhoused in the Crescent City. From the streets of Brooklyn to the soulful tapestry of New Orleans, Cole Williams has woven a narrative that transcends all genres. As a musician, a songwriter, a producer, and a humanitarian, her melodies echo with a purpose that extends far beyond the stage. And today we're going to explore the intersection of art and activism, delving into the story of women who not only crafts soul-stirring anthems, but also spearheads tangible change in her community. In the rhythm of her latest album, Give Power to the People, Cole channels the legend of Gil Scott-Heron, using her music as a rally cry for justice. But her impact goes well beyond the recording studio. As the founder of the Greater New Orleans Citizens Relief Team, Cole is on the front lines, challenging the status quo by renovating blighted houses along the unhoused. So in this era where every note carries a call to action, Cole Williams stands as a luminary, a beacon of hope for a more equitable world. Today, we explore the artistry and activism of Cole Williams and dive into the pressing issues of social justice, the houselessness in the vibrant city of New Orleans. Cole, welcome to the show. How are you?
This is my favorite time of the month because I want to just put you in my pocket, Fabian. That introduction keeps me going every time. Can I take you on the road with me?
You, for sure.
All right. Just say yes once. Well, I'm
Yes,
doing good.
yes.
It's always a blessing to be here. I know at least one time a month I'm going to have just a conversation that inspires. I know I'm going to be able to share some of what's going on, get some good words, get some good feedback, and just kind of spread the word out to anybody that's watching. So thank you to everybody that's tuning in again. I know my dad is watching. Where's my dad right now? You're in Pennsylvania? Hey, Dad. I want to thank our live stream partner, Offbeat Magazine. Of course, much love and much respect to Rope-A-Dope Records for always showing up and just doing what you do to help promote music that has a social justice foundation. So thank y'all. I want to just talk a little bit about what's happening on the ground with the Greater New Orleans Citizens Relief Team. This Friday, Good Friday, March 29th, we're having a volunteer organizer sign up and mixer at Moon Garden in New Orleans on Magazine Street. And basically, we're going to start hosting these events to introduce people to the world of volunteer organizing, explain to them what the Greater New Orleans Citizens Relief Team is, and hopefully the end result is to sign up as many volunteers as we can. Because we know with volunteering, it really is a commitment. It's a full-time job that you don't get paid for. And so keeping that in mind, I don't want any of my volunteers to burn out. So I want to keep everybody really buoyant. And so the more volunteers we have putting in is the more that we're spreading the word about how community can help care for community. So I'm excited about that. We still have grocery distribution this Saturday, 8:30 a.m. Anybody that wants to find out more information about it can go to our website, GNOCitizensreliefteam.org. And then for people in New Orleans beyond, the Jazz Fest cubes are out. Woo! So make sure that if you're in New Orleans on May 2nd, come and see the Cole Williams Band at the Congo Square stage on Cole Williams Band / Rolling Stones Day. It kind of has a ring to it, huh?
It does. It does.
I love it. Well, before we continue, there's a lot of stuff that we're going to cover today. We're going to premiere a new song. It's going to be released on the re-release of my Give Power to the People album this June, and it includes 3 new songs, including We Need a Song featuring a dear friend of mine, Yao Dembele. He's the bass player in Amadou and Miriam and also in his band Climax Orchestra. So we're going to premiere that today. And then we're also going to talk about why does music continue to play a pivotal role in every movement for positive change? I mean, we look through history, and music has always played a significant role, and it's doing it right now. And so I'm just so privileged to be in this space where we can talk about it. But who's the video number 1? For anybody just joining us, this is Organizing 101. This is our foundation, and this is how myself and the Greater New Orleans Citizens Relief Team began organizing and demonstrating with the House.
Everybody that work in this city hall, how can you look out your window, get out your car, like we ain't shit? I'm one of the homeless person that they can't just put in a box and say, oh, she mentally ill, or something wrong with her. No, because I worked at Dave and Buster's. You know, I have held several jobs and had to not work because of not having somewhere stable to be.
There are about 8,000 hotel rooms that are available in the city. We're with the New Orleans Relief Citizens Team, and right now we're coming to you to find out if you have rooms available right now.
We want to do what y'all need, not what we want.
For the people.
We want to know what y'all want. That's what this is about.
Well, here's the first thing everybody got to stop doing. Stop saying homeless. Start saying displaced, because a lot of people is forced into now this position.
I agree with you. A lot of these 501c3s don't even know poor people, and they're supposed to be serving. They give them food or blankets or something, but they don't know them. They've never been in their home. They've never been at their table for dinner. People think the Martin Luther Kings and the Rap Browns and the Stokely Carmichaels, the people who made speeches, they think the spoken word is what built the movement. That ain't what built the movement. It's on that ground, knocking on doors in them cotton fields and cane fields and tobacco fields, and meeting with people in bars and hotels and washaterias and beauty parlors and barbershops. That's where the movement was built. If you look at those old footages of Martin Luther King and anybody else doing marches, you'll see a front line of intelligentsia-looking people and professional-looking people, and the whole march is just ragtag black folks. That's who stepped up. It's the ones in pain that know where they hurt and know what is needed for them to not have pain again.
We want city-owned housing to be made available for restoration and renovation for the houseless, by the houseless.
See, we out here doing it because we want the house. We need the house.
That's right. If we do one, the rest will come.
Oh, that's how it goes.
Once we build these houses, and there will be many, we give them away.
Everything here is donations. This is all grassroots. We haven't gotten corporate sponsorship. CORE came out here because they wanted to be a part of this. Our Prevent is out here, they want to be a part of this. Artivism is out here, they want to be a part of this. So this is really community-based.
Every time I see that video, I get like another golden nugget every single time. And I mean, I think what comes to me, in this moment is the amount of the levels of stakeholders that it's involved to put something on like what you're doing here. There's levels to it. There's even the smallest bit of volunteerism, right? And that has to be also affecting the way people are receiving the goods. Cole, can you maybe talk a little bit about from the beginning to today's date? Have you seen any kind of development or I'm sure there's plenty of growth that you can talk about.
I feel like growth isn't a linear thing that happens. We like to make it linear because it's digestible. But what I've realized working with this organization, the Greater New Orleans Citizens Relief Team, is that growth happens in cycles, it happens in stages, and there's all these delineations. I think about where I started as a volunteer organizer to like being sort of pensive, not being comfortable to speak with the houseless, feeling insecure, like, who do I think I am talking to these people? Will I be received? Then, you know, selling this thing that we're doing, it's not an easy sell because people are looking at me like, wait, you want to help who? Poor people? People that smell? People living on the street? So there's that whole thing. Like, you really got to believe what you're doing to like walk around and say, I'm going to help houseless people and I'm going to sing about them and I'm going to work with them. It looks easy because I'm comfortable and because I know why I'm doing it, but it's not an easy process. And so I think the process in volunteering and organizing is the same process in a lot of things. It's about knowing that your purpose in it. So you mentioned that there's no small jobs with the volunteers. Understanding that every task is a big task because you're showing up and doing it. And if you weren't doing it, hopefully somebody else would, but maybe somebody else won't. So valuing yourself and valuing your contribution and valuing your contribution as one part of a whole. So it's not that my part stands out and I'm the best, but my part really helps plug this hole. So with volunteers, there's a cycle. Like right now, what we're experiencing is that we have a shift in volunteers. Sometimes we have a lot of volunteers, meaning a lot of house volunteers, which makes certain things like picking up groceries and distributing them under the bridge into the houses. It makes that a lot easier. So why do volunteers come? Why do they stick around? How long do they stick around? That's based on the person and their investment. And so there's no judgment, but every volunteer has a cycle. And I think the most important thing for all volunteers to understand is know your own cycle, like know how far you can go, know how much you can give so that you don't burn out and then don't show up at all. So Part of what I'm doing this Friday with the mixer is to actually speak to people, to be a musician and radio host or whatever the narrative people put on me and feel surprised that I'm out here volunteering. I want to speak to them person to person and say, if you say you can come once a month, that's great, but come once a month because you're not letting me down. You're not letting even the unhoused person down. You're letting yourself down because you just said that you were going to do something and you didn't keep your commitment. And I'll say one before I become too long is that when volunteers don't commit, the long-term impact of that is that people like myself or people that are dedicated, now we have to redirect our attention from the bottom, the houseless, in order to patch up like where the volunteers need assistance. So I never want my haves to take away more attention from me than my have-nots. And that's kind of normally what happens. You'd be surprised.
That's a big thing, Cole. I can imagine the challenges that you would face when it comes to incentivizing volunteers or retaining volunteers or even finding and recruiting new volunteers. If there's someone out there watching, what would be something that you would say to a new volunteer to get them excitement about doing what it is that the type of work that you're doing?
So first of all, I would just say that you have to enjoy helping people. This should be fun. Right. This should never feel like, oh my goodness, I got to get up and I got to go out there. If you don't come to the table with happiness and joy for serving, don't look for me to teach that to you. Like, that's not my job. I'm going to teach you what I'm doing and I'm going to teach you how to serve, but I can't teach you to have that kind of personality. Just like with the houseless, if they're not interested in working on building their home or working with us, then we're limited. We're not the organization for them. There might be another organization for them. So we're not here to solve everybody's problems. We have a specific niche, solution-oriented organization based in the teachings of Ella Baker. that have worked, that continue to work. And so we're focusing on using housing as our way of creating the support system for the houses. So I'd say the first thing is be open. Be open to meeting new types of people, be open to learning new experiences, be open to just learning things that you don't even know that you're gonna learn. And come ready to serve more than you're coming to receive.
I love that. You can't teach the reason why you're doing it. You can't beat the person.
A lot of volunteers come for different reasons, you know. So in general, I'm a listener. I like people. I like talking to people. So it's been easy for me to meet people and get to know them. And it helps in volunteering because I'm able to redirect a lot and retain volunteers maybe longer than some of them would have stayed. But what I've noticed is in the beginning, when people weren't really clear about what our mission was and how we do what we do, a lot of people came to us looking to feel better about themselves by giving back. So when they didn't get that gratification, that instant gratification of, oh, you're great, and when the attention isn't all about the volunteers, it's very difficult for some volunteers to work with us. So I say it in the best way. This is a lesson in being selfless. It's a lesson. I like to think about what Lewis says, that everything is transactional, but this is a lesson in a different type of life transaction, like the serving. Those kind of seeds that are planted for upliftment. It's an experience. It really is a lifestyle. You know, who I am today in this work is not who I was in 2020. And I think it's great. I've grown. I'm the same person, but better. And better because I go to the people first.
It's so profound. If I can jump in, you know, I've been investigating lately how words affect the way we view the world. And I've probably said this in previous episodes and shows, times we've spent together, but the narrative of giving back, the narrative of serving, this is all noble and good, but it is framed in the sense of the haves and the have-nots. And I think that when you approach something from the perspective of I'm thankful for what I have, and now I'm going to go help someone else and give them something from what I have, whether it's my time or money or food, whatever, you're missing the larger point in a certain way when you stay in that lane. The real lane that isn't narrated to us by our society or by our system is that we are all one. And that by giving and helping someone else, you are actually helping yourself. I think it's very important for people to think about it from that perspective, and that might ease some of that friction around what did I do as a volunteer. Even the word volunteer, I think, is laced with modern day capitalist thinking, in the sense that I'm going to go do something that I don't get paid for, which is not really true. You're going and helping yourself because, you know, there but for the grace of God go I. We can all see that. So really, you're just going and doing yourself a favor and helping yourself.
Thank you for bringing that connection, because that's what I feel. Like, that's exactly what I feel. I'm not helping somebody else. I'm helping, like, one of my extended family members, because we all got to share this planet. You know, I think about the block, right? The neighborhood that we have been working since 2020. And just us coming together as a neighborhood, you know, so many people paying attention. Now we're being mindful of the block. There used to be so much trash there. It was dark. It was shady. That block is not nearly as shady as it was 4 years ago. And for me, that's a testament of everybody getting involved and like valuing that block as if they lived on the entire block. And, you know, Louis, you said something about giving their time. We're very intentional about saying we're asking people to share their gifts, skills, talents, and resources. So nobody's giving. It's all sharing, you know? So even like just reframing and not thinking about giving, like you're sharing, you know? So yeah, words are very powerful. And I think as we take our words back, you know, the actions that we put behind these words, that's really going to be how we take the words back.
Both you guys have some very profound thoughts today. You know, Lewis with, you know, we're all one, we're all connected. Words are important. And then Cole, you know, the reframing of giving to sharing sounds so much better. Giving has the feeling of like you're losing something, right? I once I have it, now I don't have it because I gave it away, and that throws up walls for some people. But when you say share, brings everybody together.
There's so many teachings in the world that when you study related to the same space. You know, Lewis, I really like that you brought it back to if you're doing anything for anyone else, like you're really doing it for yourself, right? Mm-hmm. And I think so many people are out here searching. They're caught up in this system. You know, it's like we're running on this hamster wheel. And I think if we each take like a little time, a little space just to think like about the things that we're doing for ourselves and our immediate family, just use these little microcosms that we can access and just start practicing. Like, how does this work? Like, I don't believe that this houseless thing can work. Let me just try it on my family. What if I just start speaking solutions? Even if there's a problem. Like, let me not say, why did you spill the milk on the floor? Just like, you know, so how are we going to clean it up? You know, like, let's make everything proactive. Like, because you don't teach anybody by telling them what not to do. And you really don't teach them by telling them what to do. You teach them by modeling the behavior and say, you know why I did this, blah, blah, blah. And that thing that you did, yeah, that's why you got that result. But if you did it this way, and then you take that time. So I think we're at all different levels in humanity. You know, a lot of us look like adults, but we're not. Some of us look like children, but we're really adults, you know, those old souls. And I think just a lot more respect and dignity needs to happen on every level. And then we can drop it down to the lowest. But I'm just saying, and it's not even me, Curtis, Ella Baker, all of us, we're saying, if you can treat the lowest person that you feel is low with some respect and dignity, there's nobody that you can't treat with dignity. You can treat everybody. So like, why don't we just break that cycle, like where it's really hurting us?
I think a big part of that is I hear you. I feel it. I think a big part of that is you know, using for the first part with the conscious brain is to realize where a lot of these words come from and how they're framing our thinking, and to just let them go. You know, there's so much of it comes from the media, and even from our parents, but because our parents were watching TV, all of this talk about haves and have-nots, and it's just not the way the world really works. So.
I can imagine the stigma being perpetuated too, because I mean, you mentioned media, you mentioned parents, right? Basically, the influence. We're all influenced by those teachers in our lives, good and bad. Our parents, good and bad. Our community, good and bad. Media, good and bad. And I don't know if we take it to that fundamental of raising our frequency, and how can we share our love for life with everybody? How can we share our love for music with everyone? How can we share our love for humanity with everyone? The whole world would be a better place. But it starts with, fortunately, unfortunately, people rolling up their sleeves and taking the lead, like you, Cole. And like if it's not you, who's going to do it? You know, and you're the beacon of light.
There will always be somebody. That's the thing. Where there is struggle, there will always be somebody rolling up their sleeves. That's just how it is. Now, why do we have to roll up our sleeves just when there's some struggle? Like, why can't we just roll up our sleeves just to roll them up? You know, we're talking a lot about words, and you know what's been on my mind, and I'm diverting, and we're going to come back, but George Orwell with Newspeak. Have you read that? Have you thought about that concept lately?
Because I have not.
Because this, you know, so I'm big into 1984. I'm big into those kind of movies. I love Soylent Green. And so I
Hmm.
just think about words, how we've let society, capitalism, capitalist, it's not an abstract, we've let people with more whatever take control of our words and resell
Hmm.
us words as something that they're not. And then they numb us to the real meanings of the words. So, we're speaking about words, and I just thought about it, but it's so, even us not saying homeless and going to unhoused and
The
going to
houseless.
housing,
Right.
but the
Mm-hmm.
ultimate goal is displaced. So I mean, why should we should just say displaced right now. How's the displaced? You know?
Displaced. Yeah. I mean, I want to speak to that because I think a lot of us don't understand that the way the world is working right now is not the natural order, but it sells itself as the natural order. And the way it sells itself as the natural order is by using words and injecting those words into our daily conversations. Right? So we're looking at others as lesser than us. That's not the way things used to work. It's very much a function of Western capitalism as it sprung out of the enclosure movement. Not to get strange or anything here, but you referenced Orwell, and I'll go back to the enclosure movement. And I read a book by Jeremy Rifkin called The Zero Marginal Cost Society, which tipped me to that the words of the industrial West at this point have been very carefully crafted for us to think in a certain way. And we think, for example, 400, 500 years ago, there was no private property. Now, you tell somebody that today, and they're like, what?
Mm-hmm.
I just visited a town in Switzerland where on your birth certificate, 400, even to this day, they put the name of the town that is responsible for you on your birth certificate. This is a fact. We've been studying our family history, trying to figure out which town they're from, but each ancestor had a separate town, two towns on their certificate. One was where they lived, and the other one was the community that was responsible for you. If you fell on hard times, the residents of that town were responsible to help you.
Wow.
Right? And everyone in Switzerland has this town name in case they need help, and the residents are responsible. So all of this talk of the way we think on a daily basis and the words that we use about who's housed and unhoused and who's worthy and who's not in a certain way, they're not really a natural order. It's not the only system. It's just the world that and it's a reality, we live in it today. But I start with removing some of the words and asking myself, why would I say that? Why would I say giving when it in fact helps me to go and I've said this before when we came down to New Orleans and went out. It was such a gift to be able to go out with you, to be able to walk into the neighborhood that you reference and not be viewed as an outsider, but to be viewed as part of the community, someone who is there to help. I mean, I can't put a value on that. That's absolutely amazing. I got more from that than the bags of groceries that we handed out, or the bags of food. So
Yeah. Why do you think music plays such a pivotal, poignant? It's like music is the soundtrack.
Because it doesn't have the words.
And is it like getting art and art? Is it this thing? It's so amazing to me.
Because it sits above the language that the colonizers are using to shape our thinking. Because when you play music, you can't say, I own this land and I have a house and you don't. Everybody can listen to music. Once a New Orleans beat starts, I don't care what you have or don't.
That's true.
Your foot's gonna tap. I don't care if we even want it to or not. It's just gonna tap.
That is the
It
truth.
it just sits above all of that, and it always has, and that's why I love it. Yeah.
I would say would agree with everything that you say, and I would say it differently. You started to say it, Lewis, right? It has no words. And then I would take that and I would say the frequencies that emanate from music, right? The way the tones vibrate from the instrument to the listener's, not just their ear, but to their body and to their soul. There's something sacred, witchcrafty, voodoo. I don't know what the word is.
Primal,
instinctual.
And like, do you? Okay, so I think we have like 3 different perspectives. Like, how do people make this music? Like, they didn't know Wade in the Water was going to be like the traditional standard, right? Or
comes from source, man. What are you talking about?
right.
Because I know a lot of musicians, and so sometimes people try to make these things, like they sit down to make that anthem. And I personally, I've been making music for a long time, and sometimes I sit down intentionally to do something, but I've never made a strong song. Like, I didn't make Give Power to the People because I was going to make Give Power to the People. I made Give Power to the People because I knew I had to write a song with a message that took a little bit from the old and something from the new, and like put it together for now. But that's the only thing. And that's like what I let drive me. But I know some people are like, this is going to be a hit and this is going to be this anthem. And does that interfere with like the frequency of like the message? And, do we know? I feel like I can feel it. I personally feel like I can tell some authentic, like, music that's gonna, like, from the singer to the execution to the words. But is there like a line?
I don't know. I don't know where that line is. This is a tough question. I mean, so a musician has to create music for someone to hear. Without the ear, without the audience, what is it? It's beautiful. But I do know from working in music that just about every artist I've known wants people to hear their music, right? So they're creating to some audience. Then you have a hit. Well, what is a hit? You can define a hit in the way that a musician might define it, and that is, wow, the audience really liked this.
Right.
Or you can define a hit by putting it through the filter of how many did we sell.
Mm-hmm.
So if a person is thinking, I'm writing this song so that I can sell a lot, then he might presume the audience is not as smart as they are, and not reach as deeply, and not be as, or she might not be as divinely inspired, if you will, and to make something. And then there's another piece. I'm sorry to take up time, but are you making something that, what is the audience that you're thinking of? Are you thinking of humanity now, today, Saturday night? And a lot of people write hits for Saturday night, and by Monday morning, they're not Wade in the Water. It's really obvious, right?
Do you want to
So,
in the water after midnight on Saturday? Okay.
yeah, I mean, we all know there's a lot of pop songs out there, and they speak to us for a moment, and then 10 years later we say, why did I buy that? So, but that's my long-winded answer to that. And with that, I will return.
Well, I think it's real, and I think musicians like should understand that if we're like in business of making music. That's a real thought. So I wanted to share something. The reissue of my Give Power to the People album happens in June, and this next song, We Need a Song. Before Curtis passed away in 2022, for about 2 years, he told me he wanted me to write a song. He said, we need a song. And he knew we needed a song just to get people going. Some inspiring words, but like he was very, very intentional about reinforcing that he wanted us to have a song for like all people. So I didn't know the song he wanted. I just always had that idea in my head. We need a song. And one day I wrote this song. And so I asked my friend Yao, I wrote this bass line, and but my friend Yao is a real bass player. So Yao Dembele is playing bass, and I have wonderful speech from Curtis in it. So I wanted to cue, now that we're talking about music and the movement, this is like my contribution. We can talk about this. We need a song featuring Curtis Muhammad and Yao Dembele. World premiere.
We need a song to tell everyone about freedom. We need a song. We need a song that teaches us how to care. We need a song. We need a song that spreads like lightning. We need a song. We need a song that teaches us how to lift up from the bottom. Sing it loud, sing it proud. Hey, everyone, everybody just sing it loud. We need a song.
It's no reason because we have a PhD or a master's or a BA or BS from a university that we have more genius than anybody else. We have to approach each human being with the dignity and the expectation that we can discover genius we never even dreamed of. Particularly when you're talking about the pain and suffering and depression. How can we possibly know from a classroom academic setting can we discover how to eliminate poverty? How to stop the suffering that people have as a result of white supremacy and racism? Somebody got to ask the people who's suffering. I mean, the doctor even do that. What do you
You heard what he said in there?
All right.
He said even the doctor. What did he say? Even the doctor asks. Curtis said something like, what did he say?
Even the doctor do that. He asks, where do you hurt?
Right.
Mm-hmm. You got to ask the people who have pain.
That's some slick stuff. And well, world premiere on Rope-A-Dope.
That's right.
We need a song. Cole Williams.
Hey.
This is Cole, this is some impactful stuff. I don't know. I look forward to these conversations that we have, once a month, because it just kind of anchors me back into the quote that my music teacher taught me. God, I don't know, 35 something years ago was you're only as strong as your weakest link. And I know that wasn't his. That was probably somebody else's, right?
I've heard that too.
He always led with that. Listen, you're only as strong. I don't care how good you are. It don't matter about you. You're nothing. You're only the message. The point that I got from that is, again, we are a team. We are a unit. We are a community. We move as one, right?
Team
Our
humanity.
Individualism. Say it again.
I said team humanity.
Team humanity. Through music. So our mission was, once you got your stuff together, it ain't about you anymore. Who's the guy next to you, to the left or to the right, or the girl left to the right, who may not have their stuff together? Okay, right. They got their stuff together. Okay, who's to the left and to the right of them? Mm-hmm. Until we go down the line, and every single person is accounted for. You got this? You You don't got this part, everyone. We're going to slow this down until so-and-so gets this spot. It's not about us. It's about this person. What can we do? Hey, I'm going to meet with you after class and we're going to work on this part together. Hey, after you're done this thing, we're going to get together. Like whatever it took. You're only as strong as your weakest link. You cannot move forward once you have your stuff together.
And transparency. So in order to move forward, we got to know what we're dealing with. So when we get that degree, when we travel, when we learn that skill, bring it back. Don't hoard it. Bring it back to the community. Share something. I don't care that everybody tries to take advantage. I don't care that there's a crabs in the barrel mentality. Who cares? Bring it back and model that not everybody's a crab in the barrel. You know, you got to model this behavior. We really do have to reframe and unpack and let a lot of things go. Because, you know, the quote Curtis said, some of us have been hustling so long, we don't even know we're hustling. I'm going to say that again. Hustling for so long to survive or thrive that we don't even realize that we're hustling. That's deep. I meet that a lot. So that's why I don't hate anybody. I don't dislike anybody. I can't, because I know we're all struggling. I'm struggling. Some of us are struggling less. Some of us are less crazy, but we're all going through something. So the ones that know a little bit more, like I put myself out there a little bit more my entire life. So I can say certain things because I just have the experience. So it's like better over here when you do these things. And I'm telling you, service, sharing. There's nothing wrong with service. We serve our country. Why can't we serve our man? You know, we serve our country. We can serve our human to human. I don't need a bloodline or a piece of paper to like say, I'm just going to respect you because you're sharing the same planet. That's like, you know, where I would love us to be. And I think we can be, but we got to get out those dark corners, those dark spaces where we're judging and we find a reason to hate and hoard. Hoard. Well, let's stop hoarding.
There's a lot of things in there. There's the each one teach one philosophy and mentality that you're speaking to right now. There is and that's rope it open third way. You know, one of the pieces of the mission that we have is, okay, there's a Cole Williams in New Orleans. Where is the Cole Williams in LA? Where is the Cole Williams in Chicago? Where is the Cole Williams in, you know, insert your city, state, you know, Providence, country, etc., so forth. If we got really, really good, I'm talking about really, really good at just connecting to people who are doing the similar type of work, right? And like you said, sharing what they've learned and what they've known. Because Cole, you are ahead, you're leaps and bounds ahead of people who are trying to do the same work that you are. And I guarantee there's people who are leaps and bounds ahead of you. Why can't we get all three of those people in the same room, the same spot, the same space? And hey, can we talk about your experience?
Let's put the call out right now. If anybody's watching this, we want to hear from you. You know, I would love to hear from you if this resonates, and even if you aren't doing anything or want to do something, connect with us. We're easily findable.
Where can they find us? What's the best place?
I'm at Rope-A-Dope.
You can also find me there as well.
Yeah.
Cole, where can people find you, Cole?
They can find me everywhere. Just think about me. I pop up.
We read the comments. I am
Cole. Well, I am Cole at ColeWilliamsMusic.com or go to the GNO Citizens Relief Team.org. I think just get out there and do the work. What changed in my life was I stopped imagining what it was like to get involved, and I stopped talking about it, getting involved at dinners. You know, that's great. That's where you got to get the money, and stopped having these conversations and the meeting for the meeting about like what we're going to do to get out there. And then I went and talked to the people that like I wanted to help, like directly, like cut out all the middlemen to help. And that's like what started this process for me. So that's what started the process in the 60s with the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. They came to the South to integrate the lunch counters. This is told me. He with them. And they said, we're going to integrate lunch counters. They sent them to the people and said, yeah, that's good, but why don't you see what the people want to do? And they went to the people. And the people said, yeah, that's cool. But what we really want is the right to vote. And so that's how the right to vote got started, because that's what the people wanted. So it was about, we're going to integrate Woolworth's lunch counter and this lunch counter. That's great. But for that to really stick and be long-term, those people needed the right to vote, and they needed to learn how to read. And we brought them up. Like, they were brought up so that sitting at the lunch counter actually had some value.
Wow. It kind of comes back to the simplicity of just ask better questions. You'll get better answers.
You know, better question, or like, why are you asking the question? Like, the question that you ask is for the person to understand. So I think, Fabian, I really feel like people are doing the best that they can. I honestly do think that most people are doing the best that they can, but they're in this, we're stuck of things that we think that we have to do in order to get things that we think that we need, and we don't need those things, and we don't have to do those things. Not in like this way.
Can I throw a little monkey wrench into the conversation?
Yeah, bring it on.
I agree with you. I think that everybody's doing the best they can. Once you have children, once you have a family, once you get to a certain age, your ability to mobilize and help others is often restricted. The more connections you have, the more risk you have. These are all important, and I think we're at a time in history where you mentioned SNCC. This is the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. This is young people saying that they've had enough, and I think that one of the things that happens today is that young people feel that they have to mobilize on their own without consulting, talking to, or getting any information from people of a certain age. Maybe I'm just old in saying that, but and maybe my father and his father felt the same way at a certain point. But there are people above the age of 25, for all the young ones out there, who are ready, willing to listen, help, and pass on any knowledge. I'm speaking to the audience now. You can't look at anyone over a certain age as not involved in this process. And you've got the youth, the energy, and the future. It's your future at stake. We need to come together instead of looking at the past generation as the ones who, fucked up. And many people did, but not all of us. And we're here. So appealing to young people in the program, get in touch.
Can I play devil's advocate a little?
Yeah.
So, and I'm just like speaking because this is how my brain works. I always gotta like retrace the steps. So young people are here because of old people. So young people have developed like their sense of being an adult and a person based on like how they were trained, how they were raised. I think that there's also something fundamentally missing, that like old people are not being like mentors in the way they used to be. I'm hard pressed to find real matriarchs and patriarchs, people that I can call mentors. I'll be honest. It takes a lot. Like, a lot of people don't understand that they've lived a certain life. And so like to share their skills, sometimes, especially in the music business, you'll find that like the people of like 7 generations like competing for the same slot. So I wanted to also say that I think it's important for young people to like be open and receptive. I have a lot to learn, and having an older coach and like 20s, find you somebody older, 30s, older, 40s, older. Like I think everybody needs a mentor. And then like older people, like to understand that like when they're in a space with young people, not to be so quick to get on their level, but to like remember like, young people don't really talk to older people. So let me maybe be responsible in this space. Because that's what I think about, like when these little girls always come up to me like, Miss Cole, and they want to be little Miss Cole. And it's really easy for me to just like play around. And, you know, I got my nails done and looking at all this super, which is what attracts them at first, but that's not really why. So I always make a point of saying, you know, like to little Jacqueline, I say, you know, if you really want to be like Miss Cole, you got to keep your word. Because, you know, Miss Cole always comes on time and what she says she's going to do, she does, right? She's like, yeah. You know, and so like while I'm playing with her and, you know, I gave her a little purse, I'm just letting her know, like, you don't come on time, you're not like me, because I don't do that kind of messy stuff. And so like those little spaces, I just try to think about, I'm being responsible. So, because I've had like older people, Louis, say, you know, the young people, they trying to phase us out and they don't want us performing on these festivals and stuff. And I'm just like, okay, so when have you created a space with your knowledge and wisdom and integrated the young people? Like they left to do it on their own. So like, why don't you model that behavior for? And then I always like stop them. Not always, but you know, sometimes. But I just like to kind of play because I know the young people don't have it easy. But if they felt like they could trust an older person and like older people were receptive to like helping consistently, I'm sure, you know. And then, you know, young people, they got phases. 3 months, they're going to be around, they're going to leave. They'll be back. That's the life cycle of a young person. So
I have a theory.
What?
I have a theory. What? Go ahead.
As the preeminent parent in the room,
I have a theory. As the one with the most children in the room right now, I have a theory about the young and the old, and why there is this disparity between the two. And I really think it comes down to one word, and it's trust. And I think intuitively, a younger person has this intuition that is high and vibrates, and it's real. It's their BS meter is so fine. It's like they can smell bullshit a mile away. And the old person, whether unbeknownst to them or not, they are spewing bullshit. You know why? It's because it's perpetuated from their parents and their parents and their parents. So a young kid's like, whoa, hold on a second. No. My BS meter is coming off. The older person, they have no idea. They really believe the shit that they're saying. They really believe the nonsense. They do. A younger kid's like, I can see your aura, sir. Something is not matching up here. I don't, you know.
I can't get on board with this principle. I'm sorry. It's
funny.
I
what are you telling me?
Look, I'm guilty of it. Don't get me wrong. I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty. I'm at a phase in my life right now, I swear to God to both of you, that I am evaluating every belief that I have. Why is it that I believe X, Y, and Z? Where did that come from? Who taught me that? Why is it there? And why should I remain to have this belief?
I think you're supposed to. And that bullshit here, the houseless have it too. And the poor people have it too. That's what scared me. I was like, am I real? So
right.
Yeah.
The sixth sense. And maybe I went a little off the hook there. And, you know, I'm tongue in cheek in a little bit of what I'm saying, but
something going on.
There's something
going on with them kids.
I want to bring that back around to the outro. I promise not to, you know, throw any barbs out there, any difficult comments on the grounds that it might incriminate me. But before we close, what else do you want to say, Ms. Cole Williams?
I think it's amazing to have to share a platform that I can be one of the bridges from the poor to the people, you know. So I'm very grateful. I'm very humbled, and it's a privilege to be able to do the work and then to share the work. So I want to let you know, and everybody that's watching and that continues to watch, know that I don't take any of this lightly. I try to make this as light as possible, and you know, and I am having fun doing it. But this is very serious because it's bigger than me. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Because, like Louis says, if nobody was listening to the music, would I really be a musician? I don't know. I would be a musician, but I wouldn't be in the music business. So thank you for this platform, and for the ability to talk about the houseless. So I'm hoping that we get more people aware, like at least seeing it, and then the next step is the action.
Well, with that, I want to thank everyone that is watching in real time, aka live, as we learned earlier. And I like to thank all the people who are watching this on the rebroadcast, the replay, for those of you who remember that word. The next episode, right? We're going to be featuring some. Well, Cole, is there anything about the next episode that you want to say specifically?
You know, next episode, it's like festival season here in New Orleans. So this one we're gonna play it by ear. I'm gonna definitely feature some new songs, some updates from the Greater New Orleans Citizens Relief Team. We're hoping to have some interviews coming up. I don't want to name names because I don't want to put anybody out there, but hopefully we can have some more houseless and displaced activists and organizers to come in and talk and share next episode. But anyway, we're gonna be talking. That's what we do.
I love that. We can find Cole's music at colewilliams.bandcamp.com. Everyone, please stay up to date with the Greater New Orleans Citizens Relief Team at GNO Citizens Relief AM. Excuse me, citizensreliefteam.org. Excuse my notes. I promise I went to college. And please send your questions and or your comments to iamcole@colewilliamsmusic.com or at Cole Williams Official on X, the artist formerly known as Twitter. Follow Rope-a-Dope on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and on X. And in the words of the late Curtis Muhammad, we can't build a revolution or a movement without figuring out how to pick us up from the bottom. Lewis, can you take us home, sir?
I will. I want to say thank you to Cole Williams' persistence and showing up back at you. I mean, this is just the highlight of our time to be on with you. I think that so many people can take such positive inspiration from you for doing this, and I really encourage people as we move forward in 2024 with your show. To place those comments and to get in touch with us. It doesn't matter what city you are. This is not about just New Orleans. This is about all of us. We're going to, continue to dive into philosophy and action and music as we move forward. But the last thing I want to say, because on the outro here, I've paired up a song from a great friend of mine, also a musician by the name of Richard X. Bennett. And as I think about him and the music that he makes, Richard is a very unique character. Cole, you are a very unique character. I would like to think of myself in such a way, and I know Fabian is, but at the end of the day, we all want to be seen. And that, I think, is the common ground I think that we have, So I want you to hear the song from Richard. I want you to return. I want to see everybody, and I want to keep seeing you, Cole, and you, Fabian, as we move ahead. All right? It's going to take me a minute to do this because I don't have the outro ready. Here it is. Where is it? Okay.